Hey guys, Pokecedgo here, and welcome back to another Roblox Lua scripting video. And today I have you guys potentially a series of how to make the game The Hood. But if you guys want to see part 2, make sure you hit the like button, and let's try to reach 35 to 40 likes if you guys want to see part 2. Because I don't know if you guys want me to make this whole series, but basically I want to remake The Hood, the game, the popular game The Hood. If any of you guys wants to start your own kind of neighborhood or roleplay type of game similar to The Hood. But yeah, so in today's video I got 3 things for you guys. One of them took a really long time to make, and it was actually a recent studio crash for every developer in Roblox, so that was scary. I thought I didn't save it, but it saved, so all good. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you guys is this is the wallet. Of course, this is similar to the Hood's wallet. You can change it to whatever wallet looking you like, but obviously the purpose of it is to show the cash in the wallet. Obviously, if you change the value to like 10, 20, it will change the value here as well. And it also stores you guys a data store, a really good data store too, for free. You guys can use for your game, this game, or any game you want. And I will be leaving this game as a open source link in the description below instead of the standard model that you can download to make it easier for you guys to, you don't have to worry about placing in the right location and stuff. Alright, so anyways, next up is this cool thing, and this is the Hood's mimic of the punching. So right now I only did a punching animation and a kicking animation. Alright, so here we go. So that's the kicking, there's a little sound too, the kicking, and that's the punching. Obviously it does damage. Oh, here we go. It does damage like in the Hood, you go bop 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 bop. Alright, so that's that, and I'll explain everything and how it works. But anyways, next up is this really cool system that wraps this whole thing together. Is the Hood's phone system, but my own version. Obviously I tried to mimic the Hood style of UIs, because despite it being simplistic and not really too polished, I'm assuming that the devs of the Hood are trying to mimic that little rustic, minimalistic type of UI style. So I tried to sort of do it as well, but a little bit more polished, but it's similar. Alright, so it has an airplane feature, anonymous feature, and a change your ringtone feature too, and of course click to call. So this is player one. So how it works is basically, let me just show you guys. Okay, so basically in order for the player to receive your call, so okay, I want to call this player, right? I will say busy because it doesn't have his phone out, obviously he won't see it. So if I go to the player and have his phone out, alright, so now the phone out, okay, let me just call this person. It'll go pop, it'll play that sound. So it'll say dialing here, and in this player style it'll say call incoming. I can answer it or deny it, so let me answer it. Call incoming. Alright, so I'm gonna say hello. There you go. I'm gonna say hello here, and it should I pray, I should show up in here. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of lag. Oh my god. There we go. It says player 1 hello. So just like that, and vice versa. Alright, here we go. There's a lot of lag happening. Oh, there you go. It says hello right there. But yeah, that's that. I don't want to make this video too long, but obviously if you unequip the phone, it'll hang up both user. There's also an airplane mode, basically saying that you don't want to receive any calls. If you click that, like that. Anonymous mode means that if you want to call somebody, you don't want them to know you don't want them to know that it's you. So there's that feature, and obviously there's a little ringtone feature, which I'm gonna copyright that, which you can change your ringtone. So here we go. You click change, and if I go back here, let them equip my phone. Let's play right there. So I call. So that's the basic one. So I think sound loads while in load status. Oh boy. Oh shoot. Okay. Call ongoing. Okay. Yeah. There's some. Just deny that. It should work, I think. Dialing. Oh shoot, you know what? I think it's supposed to be player 2, player GUI, phone system, call request, no frame. Ringtone, let's see, change it. Oh, it didn't change it, that's why. Okay, I'll fix that, don't worry. Alright, so anyways, that's a little demo. Alright, so I'll actually fix that right now. We're gonna go to the change button, and we're gonna do if to number ID the text script the parent that ringtone that sound ID equals RBX assets ID sound ID RBX asset ID that numbers. Oh no, that should work. Let's go to play. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, that should work. Actually, you don't even need that part. And you can just do ID that text script that parent that text box that text. Yeah, that should work. Yep. And here is the thing that changes to default. So actually we should change this. If script that parent and timeline. Okay, no, we should add a wait. Okay, there we go. Now it should work. Alright, anyways, so let me explain to you guys how the whole system works, and make sure you pay attention, and I'll go over the whole thing. If you guys, if you guys want to understand how the whole thing works, so you make sure you don't go into this whole thing blindly. So the first thing is the wallet system. Obviously, the first thing you're gonna do is go to the data store. Constant, there's one thing here for now, it's called cache. If you add your own data store, you can say like tokens and equals 0. Just how you add new stuff. You can also do strings as well and all that stuff. Alright, so then you're gonna go to the starter pack, and then we got three things here. We got the phone, punch, and wallet. The wallet, you're gonna open up a script. Basically what this does is just updates the billboard, the text label here, to the player's current value for cash, which changes right here. That's basically what the script does. Alright, so next up is the punch script. Now the punch script is unique in itself. So basically this is the punch sound. Alright, so there's that. So basically what this does is, let me pay attention here. Basically the first thing you're gonna do is I provided you guys with two assets here. A punching animation, kicking animation. Obviously if you do this right now, it won't work for you. You need to publish the animations yourselves, and meaning you have to own the animations for this to work. So if you guys are too lazy to do your own, just do this. Open up your animation editor. Let's see, animation editor, like that. You just open it up and just do that. Publish it as your own. Get the ID, and you want to replace these IDs with the ID that you published as. So the animation ID of your published version of your own, in no specific order. Now here's the cool part. You can put as many IDs as you want. It will choose a random animation for it to play. So just like in the hood, there's like what four or more different variation of punching and kicking, like two different variation of kicking with like left leg kick, right kick, kick, left hand punch, right hand punch. You can do all that. You'll choose random one. So just if you want to add as much animation variation you want, just keep adding IDs here, and also basically select a random animation. Change the player's lock speed to 10 to slow them down. Play the animation. And basically here's this. I'm gonna use raycasting instead of doing that little method of taking damage of raycasting is, in my opinion, is better for this kind of thing. Basically, if while the animation is playing, so while punching or kicking, if it detects a person in the radius of 5, so this basically is how far you want the damage to be dealt, or how much to detect, or the distance you want the player to detect. So if there's a player, say 5 studs or less in front of you, it will consider it. If it's more, it will not. So if you increase that, the more you decrease this, the closer you have to be to the player. Basically, the higher you increase this, the farther you can inflict damage on a person. Here's the damage thing. You can change this to damage and all that. Total anims. I don't think you need this actually. Hold on. No, you don't need that. Sorry, this one that took a whole lot of time to do, but you don't need that, right? So yeah, it just does that, and of course, it detects it on take damage right there, so it makes a humanoid take damage, or the player you're trying to punch, or all that stuff. So that's how it works. Just remember to publish your own punching and kicking animation. I provided you guys with this one if you're too lazy to make, but that's what you have to change. Alright, so here's the complicated part, is the phone system. Now the phone system itself is it's quite long to explain, but pretty straightforward. So the first thing you're gonna focus on is, well, the phone tool. The phone tool has 4 components. So there's a phone, which is the something thing. Basically, I'm gonna use this to detect if the tool is a phone, basically. In a call, and call with, and is anonymous, basically just values that I'm gonna change. If a person is in a call, who's the person calling or in a call with, or if the player is anonymous. Phone script here, basically if the player unequips, reset everything back to default. If it's equipped, show the UI. Okay, so if it's equipped, it'll show the UI, and that's where everything basically runs down. So the phone system itself, so there's a lot of things to go over, but basically the first thing I'm gonna do here is the main updater. Alright, so the first thing that's gonna happen is, actually no, receive call, no, main updater. Alright, so ignore all this. Basically what this does is it updates the scrolling frame with the current list of players in the game. Every time somebody joins, leaves, it'll constantly update it, and it'll remove those players, add those players, all that. There's that. Here's the cancel all event. Basically it's there's different portions throughout the whole phone system where fire, cancel all, basically just changing the ongoing call value to false, meaning the person is not in a call. Right, so receive calls. So this to send receive. Actually we're not gonna go there, but basically once the main components you guys should know. Yes, I'm gonna turn this to visible equals true. Alright, so first thing, right, so I showed you guys how the players are listed. Basically it clones the template and it shows it there. The template has a little button and a local script. So basically what this does is, once the player clicks it, it'll check if they're in a call. If they're not in a call, which is right here, it'll check client side, obviously. If the player has a phone equipped, so basically this line, if the player has a phone equipped, if it does, play the ringtone sound, which you can change yourselves, and change ongoing value to true. That means they're in a call, or say you're the one trying to call somebody. Now you're in a call. They'll say that your status will be in a call. Fire the event send call, firing the recipient value, the person you're trying to call, and anonymous value if you want to go anonymous or not. And obviously the else statement just checks if everything is not properly running. It'll say all that stuff, busy, so calling, going, all that stuff. Right, so that's that. Alright, so anonymous button, airplane button, basically same thing. All they do is just change these values to true or false. Anonymous and airplane button, which is receive call. So yeah, so there's that. The change button itself is basically you put the ID, check if it's a number, you don't want random string like A B C D E F G and as a ringtone ID. So it does that. Change this to text, and every time you change this, wait 2 seconds. If the time is less equals to 0, meaning that's not a valid sound ID, basically. Change it back to the default ringtone, which is the Skype call sound. Alright, so per se, the player does click the player, they want to call somebody. I'll fire the send call, and it'll get detected into the main script over here called the phone handler. Everything is basically handled in one script. So send call gets responded to anonymous. Okay, so first it's gonna check and find the player's phone. That's what it does here, and then it's gonna send a dialogue to the player and to the player you, stating 2 things, which is the dialing and the receiving dialogues. All dialogues can be actually changed here. I made it easier for you guys to do. So basically you can change what it says. So if you want to change it to, instead of dialing, it could be like contacting or whatever you want. There's a deny call. Instead of denied, you can put like call hanged up or something. It's obviously configurable. You can change it to whatever you want. Just a message template. Basically when you talk to the person, this thing is getting used. So if you wait, did I call? In use message. Right. It should all be in use actually. Alright. Each script has a message remover. Basically, after 2 seconds, you can change whatever you want to each one of them, to how long you want each of them to show up. Basically, after by default, every 2 seconds, it destroys whatever the dialogue. So this doesn't show up for too long, but it doesn't show up for too short. Yeah. So that's that. So the phone handler, right? So fires that, and it'll fire an event. Here's the part I was talking about. The cancel all event basically just resets the player calling. If they can't find a player's phone, or like the phone's not equipped and all that stuff, cancel all back to the player. That means the player is busy or doesn't have the phone out, or all that stuff. Now, send receive fire all clients recipient anonymous player.name. So I'm gonna fire all clients, which actually fires to every single player in the game. If the player's name is equals to the recipient, basically saying if say player 1 equals to player 1, that means they're the person they're trying to call. Basically, do a bunch of checks. If receive calls equals to, that means the player's anonymous mode is on or off. Receive calls is on and off, aka airplane mode. If it's on, fire back to the server with the call deny event, which basically resets everything. Call deny for the player trying to call. But if everything checks out, it'll change everything in the call request, making it visible equals true. It'll change the call value to the person trying to calling is anonymous, to the person calling is anonymous or not, depending on their settings. It'll do all that, and if they're anonymous, it'll obviously call from unknown. If they're not, it'll be called from the person who's trying to call. Right. So all that. So basically, here's the button handler. So if they deny it, fire back to the server with the call deny event, basically resetting everything, and resets everything here as well to the player who received the call. If they do accept, on the other hand, same thing, reset everything, but this case it will do call accept, and it'll fire call accept to the server. Now let's say, here we go. So the call deny, that's the call deny event, which denies all the call and reset all that stuff. But if they accept the call, here's the two things that's happening. Okay. And this function called phone 1, there's no phone 2. I just call it phone 1. Honestly, just less complicated. Let's just call it phone. Okay. So let's just call that phone. Here we go. That should be easier to understand. Alright, so find phone on local phone. So find phone finds the player, like the caller, and local phone finds the player who's being called. So we're getting both recipients here. So the first part is getting basically it finds the player's phone, and then it'll put the connecting dialogue. So it's gonna say connecting. Remember, the player accepted the call here, and they'll basically find the tool and change everything here. So this is gonna happen to the player calling and to the player receiving, to the player who was called. Basically, both sides will have their in a call value to true. In call with will have it'll be changed to the person who they're calling with. So player 1 will be calling. This is player 1's phone. It will be player 2 in the value. If this is player 2's phone, it will be player 1 in the value. It's anonymous. So if player 2, the person who's calling, went anonymous mode while calling, their value would be to true, basically, or sorry, the person who's being called anonymous, so true, which would check, which you'll see. So it does that. Okay. Now here's the cool part. Once everything is set here, now we're gonna go to the chatted event, which is the last component of this whole thing. Basically, every time somebody chats, it'll check first if they have a phone while chatting, obviously, and it'll check if they're in a call. If the value is in a call equals true, then it'll check if they're anonymous. If they're anonymous or not. If they're anonymous, it'll say question mark message. So actually, I'll make that easier. There we go. Question mark message, basically stating that they're not non-existent. You don't know who they are to the person. So if you're anonymous, if you say something, the person you're calling, to them it would be question mark, then your message. And of course, if they're not anonymous, it will show your name and your message. That's basically what it does, and that's basically everything, the whole phone system. Obviously, if it's unequipped, everything resets, and it'll actually unequip the phone to the player as well. But basically, that's the memo. That's the whole thing. And yep, if you guys want to see part 2, make sure you hit the like button. Let's get 35 to 40 likes in this video if you guys want to see part 2 of how to make the hood. And obviously, everything is here. The game link is in the description below for the open source. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe and comment. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out.